Dysfunctional movement can start at the foot and ankle, and what we're really looking for is how well can we control and how well can that foot advance underneath our center of mass. So the foot follows a typical path of progression. When we hit on the outside border of our foot, and that sets up the chain reaction that causes our foot to pronate to the ground. This pronation, where your foot flattens to the ground, is how you shock absorb. You have 3 to 5 times your body weight contacting the ground here, and you need to be able to disperse those forces. That is controlled all by muscle groups. So you need something that lowers you off the cliff here. You have muscle groups on the inside part of your leg, the inside part of your knee, and the outside part of your hip that decelerate that control that rotation inwards. As you come through mid-stance, you need to get to a phase where it stops, and then it pulls itself back out. So we go from this foot turned in phase here to a pronation phase there where the foot actually turns in, and then as we come to push off, we want to see that the foot turns back out. And when we lack the strength to do this, we hit the ground, we float inwards, we get stuck in this pronated phase. This is dysfunctional movement. We're not designed to move this way. When we come towards push off, we'd like to see that ideally our foot would be coming here, and instead of turning out, it would be here and turning in. We get that foot to resupinate so it can be a rigid lever for push off. But when we lack the foot strength, we can't. That can't happen. We hit on the ground, we're too weak to control the foot, and even as our foot comes to push off, we remain pronated. We can't control that. So one of the big pieces that we find is individuals and runners with weak feet lack the ability to control that movement, and if you can't control it, the foot and ankle, this can wreak havoc on your knee, your hip, your foot, all the way up the chain. When we're looking at dysfunctional movement, it doesn't have to be that you have a restricted joint. It could be that you have weakness, you have range of motion issues, or just poor movement patterns. And here we see, if we look at the foot view, what we're looking to see, can this patient in my clinic balance through the center of her foot? Does she have the ability to find her center and stabilize there? And what you're going to find is she does not. And this is a fairly low load situation where she's just bearing body weight. But as she's standing, you can see how she drops down really hard into pronation, she comes back up, and she continues to rock back and forth just in standing. So if we just pause her at this pronated position, what she's doing, she's really just overstretching this posterior tib muscle. The plantar fascia goes on a lot of stretch with this overpronation. So she has poor foot control even in just standing. So you can imagine when she's running how much dysfunction is going on when she's crashing in with 3 to 5 times her body weight, and she needs to be able to control that. If you can't control it here in standing, I mean, it's just observing the movement, and you can see that she's having issues there. The same thing with this lower half on the other side. If we watch her squat, as she comes up and down, what you're going to find is her knee's going to drop hard into valgus on one side. And by valgus, I just mean that she's going knock-kneed on this side. And that's not necessarily a foot and ankle issue. It's more of a chain issue. We don't want to talk about specific muscle groups. When she squats down, we'll watch her one more time. She's losing, there you see it big time, she's losing control from her up top. She's losing control from her glute up top that would pull this knee that way. But she's also losing control through the muscle groups of the inner lower leg that push that way. So again, a fairly low load situation where she's squatting. You can see compared to the other side, she's nice and straight, and here she goes into a knock-knee presentation, right-sided knee pain. We wonder, if you can't control it here, what happens when you run? You don't have to have yourself video in slow motion to find some of these issues, but they can certainly, they come more to the surface when you do. So 2 dysfunctional issues, one's due to foot and ankle weakness, one's due to a weak, we'll say not even weak hip, or say a right weak chain of muscle groups. When we're assessing spinal mobility, we have to look at the ability for the thoracic spine to move. So what we tend to find is, because so many of us sit continuously, we lose the ability to be mobile through our thoracic spine. So this is a huge area for dysfunction in runners. They get this flexing forward of their thoracic spine, and they lose their ability to extend, they lose their ability to rotate through that area, and it really holds things up. If we take a look at this runner on the left, you're going to see that pretty much he doesn't get rotation. He gets just his arms swinging from front to back, and he doesn't engage the powerhouse muscle groups that he can turn on through rotation. So you're going to see him kind of come through. He doesn't get great rotation at all. A lot of shoulder mobility, a lot of shoulder range of motion, but never really turning on
the muscles that are located through the pelvis, the hip, the pelvic floor, pretty much everything through here, because he can't rotate. On the other side, we look at this younger guy, and granted he hasn't been sitting as long, but we look at the thoracic mobility that he brings to the table, and we just watch him run. You can see how his shoulders are churning, he's moving through his mid-back, and this allows him to use running as a whole body movement rather than doing what we see with most runners. They're here, they just punch their arms, they take their arms and they punch them out to the front here, back and forth. And then they do the same thing here. And that's kind of what we're seeing here with the guy on the opposite side. He's not rotating from side to side, which is occurring through the thoracic spine. He is just punching some arms here, he's punching some arms here, and he never gets that rotation from his mid-back. Are you looking to become a stronger, faster, and more well-rounded runner? Then jump on over to RunSmartOnline.com and take our 10-day free challenge. Try our run-specific, time-saving, and easy-access videos that let you get stronger from anywhere, whether it be at work, home, or on the road.